Welcome back, Grade 8 MAHUSCI learners. I am your MAHUSCIence teacher today. Brace yourself for an exciting learning and activities here at episode 7 of Science 8. Your learning is on the way. Have you ever wondered what other heavenly bodies are out there? For today's discussion, join me as we learn about unpacking the truth behind comets, meteors, and asteroids from your learning activity sheet in Science, Quarter 2, Week number 7. After going through this lesson, you are expected to compare and contrast comets, meteors, and asteroids, analyze scientific and non-scientific beliefs about near-Earth objects, and value beliefs about comets, meteors, and asteroids. Let us first check your knowledge about comets, meteors, and asteroids by answering these pretest questions. For the direction, choose the letter of the correct answer. You may write your answer on a separate sheet of paper. Number 1. A small rocky fragment that floats around the solar system. A. Asteroid. B. Meteor. C. Comet. D. Meteorites. Number 2. Which of the following statements can you accept as correct? A. Comets have tails whether they get near the sun or not. B. Comets have no tails whether they get near the sun or not. C. Comets have tails only when they get near the sun. Or letter D. Comets have tails that are formed only when they pass through layers of gas in the atmosphere. Number 3. What makes comet visible to the eye? A. They reflect the light from the sun. B. They reflect their own light. C. They shine with their own light. D. They are near the earth that makes them visible. Number 4. Why are meteors seen as falling star at night? A. Friction with the atmosphere produces heat and light. B. Friction with the atmosphere causes rocks to emit their own light. C. Since the meteors come from stars, they have their own light. Or letter D. The meteors reflect light from the sun. Number 5. Meteors that hit and land on the Earth's surface is called blank. A. Asteroids. B. Comets. C. Meteorites. Or letter D. Meteoroids. I know that everyone is all set. Let's start. People have been aware of comets since ancient times. Try to ask your grandfather or grandmother about comets and they might tell you that a comet brings bad luck. Why? Some people believe that comets were bad spirits who took the appearance of a head of a woman with its long hair streaming behind. To old folks, this was a tradition sign of mourning. Sometimes, to other people, a comet appeared as sword, which is a sign of war, death, and famine. A comet is a fuzzy luminous snowball composed of rock dust wrapped around a big ball of ice. They are icy objects. This beautiful sight in the sky moves very slowly and may remain in our sight for weeks before fading out of view. A comet enters a huge elliptical orbit. Each time a comet passes close to the Sun, it loses some of its material. When it returns to the distant part of the solar system, it gradually appears smaller and dimmer. Over time, it disappears completely. In some cases, the comet may have a solid rocky core that is then left to continue traveling around its orbit as a dark barren asteroid. As it gets closer to the Sun, it becomes visible because the heat of the Sun melts the ice of the comet and turns it to gas. This gas becomes the coma, which wraps and hides the nucleus from our view. The nucleus is the center of the comet, made of frozen water. The nucleus and the coma together are called the head of the comet. They become bigger and bigger as more gas and dust are released from the coma. The solar winds blow more and more gas from the coma, causing it to form a tail, which in some comets can reach up to 150 million kilometers in length. Most comets are thought to originate from a huge cloud called Oort cloud, which is too far away for astronomers to see. There is no evidence that a comet has ever crashed into Earth. However, it is one possible explanation for the extinction of dinosaurs. The hypothesis is that a large comet or asteroid crashed into our planet and triggered a chain of disastrous events like earthquakes and tidal waves, causing radical changes in the climate and eventually wipe out the dinosaurs. Now that we're done discussing the comets, let's talk about meteors. A meteor is called the falling star or shooting star. A meteor is observed when a meteoroid passes through Earth's atmosphere and burns up in the process. When meteors hurtle through the layer of air surrounding Earth, friction caused by the molecules of gas that make up our planet's atmosphere heats them up, and the meteor surface begins to warm up and glow eventually. The heat and high speed combine to vaporize the meteor, usually high above the Earth's surface. The visible light produced by a meteor may take on various hues depending on the chemical composition of the meteoroid and the speed of its movement through the atmosphere. The color of meteors depends upon the relative influence of the metallic content of the meteoroid versus the superheated air plasma, which is brought about by its passage. Orange, yellow for sodium, yellow for iron, blue-green for magnesium, violet for calcium, and red for atmospheric nitrogen and oxygen. So, what is the difference between a meteoroid, meteorite, and a meteor? They are all the same, but we call the same object by different names depending on where it is. Meteoroids are objects in space that range in size from dust grains to small asteroids. Think of them as space rocks. Where meteoroids enter Earth's atmosphere or at another planet at high speed and burn up, the shooting stars are called meteors. When a meteoroid survives a trip through the atmosphere and hits the ground, it is called the meteorite. Here are some interesting facts about meteors. Asteroids, or simply rocky or metallic objects that orbit the Sun in the same way that planets orbit. Asteroids are hard to see because they reflect little light and they are always on the move. Asteroids also come in all sizes and shapes. Some are as tiny as pebbles, and some are big as mountains. Since they are smaller than planets, they are often called minor planets or planetoids. Ceres, which was once considered the largest asteroid, is now classified as a dwarf planet. It is about 940 kilometers in diameter. Many asteroids orbit the Sun in a region between Mars and Jupiter. This is called asteroid belt. They follow a slightly elliptical path as they orbit the Sun in the same direction as the planet. A larger object, such as planet, may pull an asteroid out of orbit. If it were not for the giant planet Jupiter pulling the asteroids outward, large asteroids would constantly bombard Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Earth. Let us check if we have achieved our objectives for today. We are able to compare and contrast comets, meteors, and asteroids. We also analyze scientific and non-scientific beliefs about near-Earth objects. And lastly, we valued beliefs about comets, meteors, and asteroids. To check your understanding about our discussion for today, you may answer the following activities. Remember, you may use the provided answer sheet in science. Good job, learners! We are done with the discussion about unpacking the truth behind comets, meteors, and asteroids. Let us have our post-test. Choose the letter of the correct answer. You may write your answer on a separate sheet of paper. Number 1. A small rocky fragment that floats around the solar system. A. Asteroid. B. Meteor. C. Comet. D. Meteorites. Number 2. Which of the following statements can you accept as correct? A. Comets have tails whether they get near the Sun or not. B. Comets have no tails whether they get near the Sun or not. C. Comets have tails only when they get near the Sun. And letter D. Comets have tails that are formed only when they pass through layers of gas in the atmosphere. Number 3. What makes comet visible to the eye? A. They reflect the light of the Sun. B. They reflect their own light. C. They shine with their own light. D. They are near the Earth that makes them visible. Number 4. Why are meteors seen as falling star at night? A. Friction with the atmosphere produces heat and light. B. Friction with the atmosphere causes rocks to emit their own light. C. Since the meteors come from stars, they have their own light. D. The meteors reflect light from the Sun. Number 5. Meteors that hit and land on the Earth's surface is called blank. A. Asteroids. B. Comets. C. Meteorites. D. Meteoroids. Here are the correct answers. That's all for today, grade 8 learners. We are now finally done with our discussion. I hope that you are able to infer knowledge about comets, meteors and asteroids. Once again, I am your Mahu Science teacher, Julie. Thank you and see you on our next episode here at Science 8. Your learning is on the way. Bye-bye!